Now, to give you a better sense of both sides of the coin, I spoke to two different people who are very passionate on either side of the debate. Jordan Bateman is the spokesperson for the No TransLink Tax campaign, as it's called. He's also with the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. And Shauna Sylvester is an SFU professor who has been working this issue, transit and transportation, for years now. I pushed both of them on their respective arguments. Here they are, starting with Jordan Bateman. This referendum question that we're seeing today, you'd vote no.
I'd vote no because it's a huge chunk out of my family's budget. If you take $250 million, which is the total tax grab, and you spread it over the fewer than 1 million households in the Lower Mainland, you're talking about a tax increase of $258 a year. Businesses are just going to pass through these costs to us. And so for me, it means, can my kid go into minor hockey? That's his registration. That's one less grocery shopping trip a year. That's going to be a lot of money.
It's money. The project in mind is grand, I would say. There are a lot of different improvements to infrastructure that they're talking about. Where would you get the money otherwise?
Well, first of all, we need to look at this and decide if it's a plan or a wish list. Mayor Corrigan made some incredible points about how this is really just every mayor throwing everything they can into the pot to try to get funded.
But then your alternative is what?
Well, we're going to work on our plan. We're going to take their numbers and update them and figure it out. And then in January, we'll release a plan. It'll be much more modest than this one, that's for sure. And you can bet it's not going to have a $258 tax increase.
But if we're talking about getting billions of dollars over the coming years, I mean, the plan that we've heard, $7.5 billion, right? That's not a small chunk of change to get, and anything that would secure that amount of money is going to require something pretty drastic. I mean, there are different options on the table: gas tax, carbon tax, provincial sales tax. That was just one of them. Yeah. But I mean, this plan that you're talking about that would raise all of this money, billions of dollars.
Yeah. Local government in the Lower Mainland is a $10 billion a year industry. They're not a small pocket. They're not a small player. So a $10 billion a year industry is now asking you for $250 million more dollars. That would be job one to look at those cost increases. And look, some of this infrastructure, we're going to have to pace ourselves. We're not a big city. We can't afford to do multiple rapid transit lines. There's a reason why we built the Expo line in the 80s, Millennium line in the 90s, Canada line in the 2000s, and now the Evergreen line in the 2010s. We can't afford to do more because the tax base just isn't here.
But isn't the cost of waiting even greater? I mean, do you take public transit on a daily basis?
Not on a daily basis, but from time to time.
But for all those people who take the bus or who take the SkyTrain on a daily basis, they're saying, look, the need is now. We need a plan now. This is a plan that is on the table, for better or for worse. No one's saying it's a perfect plan. It is a plan that will get things rolling over the next couple of years.
It's a plan that's going to cost those people $258 more a year in taxes. It's a plan that's going to cost families that don't use public transit $258 more. So it's a very expensive plan. It's a quite grandiose plan. They don't have federal commitments yet to fund the federal share. They're counting on $1.5 billion. Not sure the Harper government's going to go along with that.
Now, Shauna Sylvester, you're a professor with SFU, and you've been working for years on coming up with sustainable funding solutions for regional transportation. When it comes to this referendum question, you'd vote yes?
I would.
Why?
I think this referendum is a very elegant solution to a very difficult and complex problem, and I'm actually quite excited about what the Mayor's Council has managed to achieve in a very short time with a difficult issue. I don't think you'd find too many people who are in favor of referendums for transportation, but given that we do have a referendum, I think the Mayor's Council have put together a very good investment plan, and I think that they've put together a very simple and easy to understand solution.
Now, here's what the Canadian Taxpayers Federation says. We'd all be better off if TransLink spent as much time and effort looking to save money and cut waste as it did dreaming up new tax grabs. What do you say to that?
Well, I say that Jordan Bateman likes to talk a strong line against TransLink, but this is a referendum about transportation in the region, and it's far more than a referendum about TransLink. It's a referendum about getting better roads, getting a refreshed Patella Bridge. It's about many more buses and trying to address the issues of 1 million more people coming into our region. The cost of doing nothing is very, very high, and we can't afford to do nothing. One of the things that's in this question is independent auditing and a review of where the money is going, and I think that's an important part of the question.
Looking at the question, but also looking at the question marks around it, because one of the big problems, the way I see it, is that this referendum question could be asked. People could vote yes. They would pay an extra 0.5% in provincial sales tax. But then the province or the federal government also needs to kick in billions of dollars over the coming years. If that doesn't happen, everyone pays hundreds of millions of dollars collectively over that same period without really seeing any of these projects realized. There's no guarantee here.
There's no guarantee on anything, but we need to start. And I think the mayors have done an exceptional job of putting forward a good plan, a plan that gives something to each of the areas of this region, particularly south of the Fraser, which really does need more transportation and transit infrastructure. And then I think the provincial government has indicated that they are interested in supporting transportation infrastructure, and certainly the federal government has indicated that they're interested in supporting transportation infrastructure.
Why do I support the Canadian Taxpayers Federation?
Because families deserve a break.
Because someone has to keep our politicians honest.
Because honesty and hard work should be rewarded, not punished.
Alone, my voice may not be heard.
But together, our voices can't be ignored.